How's it going? This is Hoiman, and today we're taking a look at the D-arts Noel Vermillion figure. So for the front you have a nice window to see the whole figure inside, and then the box itself is a nice blue and white colour scheme. And then here you have a nice picture of the figure, and then the window does continue to the top. And then the side you have a picture of the figure, and then on the other side you just have the extension of the window. Legal stuff for the bottom, and in the back you have various pictures of the figure. And to open the box, just lift open the side flap and lift open the front cover. And there's the figure all together with her accessories. So first you do get some instructions showing what the figure comes with and how to operate the accessories. So here's the actual figure itself, and for the most part this is a very nice looking figure. Overall the sculpt is very nice, and then the paintwork is very nice and clean for the most part. Taking a closer look at the face, I feel that they captured the likeness of the character very well. Looks just like her from pretty much every angle. And for this particular figure, I like how the hair is actually sort of transparent. And that's because the plastic used for the hair is actually a transparent part, but they just painted over it with the yellow. So it looks very glossy and metallic and gives it a kind of shine feel, which is quite a nice effect overall. And it does make the whole figure very eye-catching, I feel. So for the most part, the hair is very nicely sculpted. You can see all the different strands in the fringe, and then they are spiked up on the sides. And then for the back, it's mainly just a smooth surface, but that's so that you can attach the hat on later. And moving down to her outfit, you have the red tie, which is a solid piece, so it's quite fragile, so you have to be careful of that. And then down to the skirt, again, very nicely sculpted. You can see all the folds, makes it look really realistic. And it has kind of a darker wash towards the ends to really bring out the detail and sculpt. And then the whole skirt itself is a flexible material as well. So that's nice. And moving down to her sleeves, you can see the really nice gold paint. That's very nicely painted on. And moving down to her cuffs, again, nicely sculpted. And then onto her hands. What I do find weird about this figure is that although she's wearing gloves, you can still see fingernails. So I'm not too sure if that's actually accurate to how the character appears from the game, or if it's just reused hands from a different figure entirely. But I don't know, it just looks a bit odd to me. I'm not like I said, I'm not sure if it's accurate or not, but considering that she's wearing gloves, I'm not too sure if you can see fingernails through a glove, but that's just something to point out. And moving down to her legs, for the most part, they're very simple but nicely sculpted. And I think my main gripe with the figure are these parts here. I would have liked if they were softer material, because they're actually made from pretty solid plastic, so they feel really delicate. And I just feel every time I hold this figure, I always fear that I might break them just because of how thin they are. So it would have been nice if they were actually soft material like a skirt, but that's just something to keep in mind of. But for the most part, the shoes are very nicely sculpted. You can see all the gold paints and then the gold silver. It's very cleanly painted on. So for articulation, the neck is on a single ball joint. So she can look down about that much, not too much. Look up that much. She can tilt her head side to side as well as twist. And then the shoulder is on a ball joint, so you can rotate that around the torso. And it's also on a hinge, so you can bring her arm out to the side. And these parts are a solid piece, but the way they're sculpted doesn't hinder the articulation at all. So that's nice. You can bring her arm forward as well as back. And then she does have the bicep swivel, which is connected here. And then she's got the single jointed elbow, a little bit more than a 90-degree bend. And for her wrists, they're on ball joints. And then for these sides here, they are on a ball joint, and that's so that you can attach the red parts, which I will in a bit. And then the torso, it's on a single ball joint, and this chest piece is a softer material, so she can bend forward quite a bit, but it's still quite restricted for the most part. And then she can bend back a lot, which is nice, and you can see how the sculpt does continue upwards. And then she can lean side to side very slightly, as well as twist. And like I already mentioned, this whole skirt piece is a soft material, so it doesn't really hinder the articulation too much, but it is still a bit restricting. So the hips are on a ball joint, so you can move her legs about however you want, as well as twist. And then each leg is on the ball joint, so she can kick about that far to the side, kick forward about that much, but like I already said, the skirt is a bit restricting it. Kick back about that much. She has the thigh swivel, as well as single jointed knees. And then lastly, she has ball jointed ankle, so you can go back that much, forward that much, and then lean side to side as well as twist. So for the most part, she has all the articulation you'd expect a D-arts figure to have. But because of her design in the skirt and other areas, she is a bit restricting for the most part, but you should still be able to get all the poses you'd want. But that's the figure. Let's take a look at the accessories. For faces, she comes with a default staring face, an angry shouting face, and a sort of shy and blushing sort of face. For hands, she comes with a pair of open palmed hands, as well as 2 hands to hold her weapons. And then she does come with her 2 weapons as well, which for the most part, they look okay. They do, in my opinion, do look a little bit cheap. Like, I don't know, the plastic used just feels kind of brittle, and then the paintwork on them is clean for the most part, but they are slightly sort of faded in some areas. So I don't know, they just, to me, they just kind of lack detail and feel a bit cheap, but I don't know, that's just me, but that's just something to look out for. And you do get her hat as well, which is nicely sculpted. And then you just simply sit it on top. And the way the hat is sculpted naturally lines up with the hair in a specific angle. So that will sit on the head, no problem. It's not going to fall off or anything. And then she also comes with these 2 red wires, which is probably another gripe of mine with this figure, is that, again, they're made from pretty solid plastic, so they feel really delicate. And because they're so thin, I always fear that they might break. So it would have been nice if they were actually like a softer material. And each one has a hole here, and that's so that you can just carefully slot them into the ball joints here. And then once they're connected, like I already showed, it's a ball joint, so you can move them about however you want, up and down, side to side. You can also twist as well. So they're very versatile, and they look very dynamic once they're on the figure. But like I already mentioned, it would have been nice if they were made from a softer material, because they just feel really delicate. So it's just something to keep in mind of. She also comes with this alternative hair piece, which is with the hair down. And again, it's sculpted from the same transparent sort of material with yellow paint over it. So that's nice to have. And I will say, the front piece of her hair isn't compatible with her default hair. So it would be nice if it was, since you get a bit of a different sculpt, but this is something to keep in mind of. And then both faces work on both hairs, so that's nice. She comes with this effect piece, which is very nicely sculpted. It's nice translucent tips with the middle part. It's like a nice metallic white. And then on the back, you can see how it's sculpted, and that's so that you can attach it to a weapon. And that slides in, no problem. It's not going to fall off or anything. And something to kind of keep in mind, for some reason, this piece can detach as well. I'm not too sure why, but So something to keep in mind of. And then she also comes with this display stand. So it's mainly just a stem with this piece, and it is removable. And that's so that you can rest the gun on top to display. And for the most part, I don't think it's really necessary, because I think Bandai mainly feared that once you have the gun with the effect, it'll become too heavy. But as I'm already showing you, the figure can hold up the effect, no problem. It's not going to fall off or anything like that. But it's still nice that they included it nonetheless. And then finally, she comes with these small translucent rings. And at first I was confused at what these were, but these are actually for her wrist. What you do is remove the hand, and then you attach the ring around the wrist joint, and you just reattach the hand. And what this does is so that it kind of keeps her hand in place, so it kind of disables the wrist joint, and that's so that it's to further support the gun. So I suppose Bandai feared that once she had the gun on, the hand might drop down and not be able to support its weight. So it included these rings to add further support. But like I already showed before, even without the ring, she can still hold a weapon out just fine, even with the effect part. But it is nice that they included these rings, just in case. So my final thoughts are, overall this is a really nice looking figure, but there are some minor gripes of mine, such as the delicate ribbons on her shoes, the delicate red stripes, and then the kind of restriction in the leg articulation due to her skirt. But other than that, overall she's a very nice looking figure, nicely sculpted, nicely painted, and comes with a decent range of accessories. It would have been nice if she came with more hands and maybe a few more faces, but I suppose the effect for the gun is nice to have overall. And as of this video, this is pretty much the only posable Noel figure you can find, so if you're a huge fan of the character or the video game itself, then I highly recommend getting this figure. But that's my review. Thank you for watching and enjoy some pictures.